Hello, Wisconsin from Tennessee. So glad to be with you today. I'm Wanda Willis, Executive Director of the Tennessee Council on Developmental Disabilities, and with me is Jolene Sharp,
Hello.
who is our Chief Public Information Officer at the Tennessee Council. And so what we want to do today is talk to you a little bit about the DD Act, DD Councils, why we exist, what we do. Because we know that you're having your retreat. You got a lot of new council members today, and that's wonderful. Welcome to all of you. So we'll just get started and talk to you a little bit about our thoughts in Tennessee in terms of the DD Act. Okay?
So to start out, why don't we talk about what the DD Act is and why do we have it?
Well, it's my favorite thing in the world to talk about. I think anyone who knows me knows that. State councils on developmental disabilities were created in 1970, so we're getting ready to celebrate our 50th anniversary. And the reason that the councils came about was to develop a comprehensive state plan for supporting people with developmental disabilities in each of the states. The act, to me, is one written from the deepest, most wise people in the world to create three programs that, when you think about it, are so essential to support people in our states who have a developmental disability and their families. There's the university centers for excellence in developmental disabilities, and they research and help to create our training force that works with people in our state. There are the protection and advocacy systems that investigate cases of abuse and serve as advocates for individuals and their families, and then their councils. So the councils on developmental disabilities are so much more than an advisory council because we really have a job to work to improve the service system, to advocate for people, and to help build the capacity of our communities, really, to support people with developmental disabilities.
So that gives us a really good history and background of the DD Act, but now let's take us to the present. Why is the DD Act so important to the work we're doing every day?
I think the DD Act is critical. It lays the foundation for all the work we do every day. The most important thing the Act does, it creates a prominent role for individuals with developmental disabilities and their families to help shape the policies that impact them. The law also defined the term developmental disability for the first time. Previously, we talked about people in terms of their diagnoses, clinical diagnoses like intellectual disability, cerebral palsy, autism, epilepsy. But in the 80s, the DD Act defined the term developmental disability as conditions that are lifelong and that are going to require support in order for a person to take part in their community throughout their lifespan.
So it's a functional definition.
It is exactly a functional definition, and just so much more relevant, friendly than the way we talked about people before. One of the most important things that the Act does to me is actually found in the first line of the DD Act, where it says, Congress finds that disability is a natural part of the human experience. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. In fact, in Tennessee, we have it on the back of our Tennessee Council t-shirts. And people have told me when they wear the t-shirt in the community that they've actually been asked questions about the quote on the back. I just think it really lays an important value for all of our work. But speaking of values, the Act provides principles that are listed at the beginning that guides the work of all the programs of the DD Act, and there are about 20 principles that lay out the foundation for everything we do. In Tennessee, we make sure that all the council members have a copy of the principles. We refer to the principles quite often because it does guide all of our work.
So let's talk about the relationship building aspect of the council as a part of the DD network.
Okay, you know, the act, it really, it tells councils that we should carry out, and it tells us how to carry out our role. And it describes basically 3 activities. Systems change is something you'll hear about a lot, capacity building, and also advocacy. So just talk in a minute about systems change. What does that mean? It probably means something different to everybody. But because you're on the council, you're probably already acquainted with the fact that we have a very complex system that helps to provide services and supports to people and their families. And this system is spread across government. Many of the laws are, come down from federal legislation, but states, it's up to states to implement these laws and create systems. Another activity that we're assigned to do in the DD Act is capacity building. Well, what does that mean? Capacity building to me can relate to improving capacity or supporting capacity of individuals, of systems, of a family, of a community. So when you're helping build capacity, you're going in and helping an individual or community do things better when it comes to helping a person be more independent and be more included in the community. Capacity building is something that we sometimes use our grant program to do, but it's also something we can do by providing training or technical assistance. Then finally, advocacy is something that we also do through our grant programs, but I think we do it a whole lot through our staff and through our council members. We find that we are important advocates to help promote independence and inclusion for people in their communities.
So that's a really big job for little tiny state agencies. How do we do this huge work with our little staffs?
Well, I think one of the most important things that councils do is creating partnerships. We are small. The money that we have in the state, the number of staff that we have to work with, we're really a small operation when you think about a really huge complex system. By using our council membership, that's why you're here, that's why we have council members that are private citizens, our staff, we all together can work to create and maintain partnerships from the community level, at home where you live, all the way to the state office level, and that's where the council staff often work to create and maintain partnerships with our fellow state agencies. As a council, we find that it's critical for us to create and maintain these relationships in order to not just create the systems change, but sustain it.
Relationships. And from being within the state, we have a unique advantage that outside advocacy agencies don't have. That's one of the things that sets the council apart from maybe private advocacy groups.
I think that's so important for councils to think about, is that we are advocates, but we are different from a private nonprofit advocacy group. We're situated in government for a purpose, and to me, it gets back to the wisdom of the creators of the DD Act. Councils are situated in the middle of government, in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the complexities, so that we can try to help work and coordinate and improve things from that vantage point. I talked about state departments, but let me just talk a minute about the Developmental Disabilities Network, and these are those programs that are funded through the DD Act. So I'm talking about the University Centers for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, referred to as our UCEDs, and the protection and advocacy system in your state. The DD network is how we refer to these programs. And in Tennessee, we consider ourselves sister agencies of created by the Developmental Disabilities Act. We're very close. We talk monthly. The directors talk monthly by conference call. We trust each other. We're very candid with each other. We don't agree on everything, but the thing that we do agree on is that we all know that we're here to improve services for citizens in the state with developmental disabilities. This bonds us together in a really unique way. So in Tennessee, in addition to just seeing that our work coincides often, we also very intentionally work on projects such as transition from school to work. We work together on employment programs. We work together on multicultural programs. So we have some priority areas that we work on as a developmental disabilities network. I think it's so important for council members to know that we have a very strong network of council staff that are in daily communication with each other about initiatives, policies, and administrative details of running a council. And there are a lot of those as you operate in state government. My network of peers are so important to my work. And so that's just one important partner. Also, councils have a national office. The National Association of Councils on Developmental Disabilities is just a tremendous resource to us when it comes to federal policies, our funding, the federal agency that oversees our program, monitors our program, administers our funds. That's the Administration on Community Living and the Division of the of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. So those are very important partners that we have on the national level.
What do we want to say in closing to our friends in Wisconsin?
Well, to our friends in Wisconsin, to the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities, I want you to know that you're seen as a leader by other state DD councils and by our federal partners in Washington at the Administration on Community Living. Your Let's Go to Work program, your Take Your Legislator to Work initiative are both nationally recognized projects that we in Tennessee hope to replicate ourselves someday. Your self-advocacy projects are looked to as national models. Beth Swedine, Bill Klissa, you are go-to advisors for many other councils across the country, and certainly for Tennessee. I consider Beth a close colleague and friend. Finally, as new members of the Wisconsin Board, you will have a chance to help shape the future of the people in Wisconsin with developmental disabilities. Your work is critically important, and it's important to our national network and to councils across the country. So we look forward to working with you in partnership to improve things in the country in both of our states, and want to wish you a whole lot of luck on your retreat this week, and look forward to working with you.
Let's get to work.
Bye.